Greetings, listener. Please enjoy the unintelligible ramblings of your favorite dynamic trio, Arva, Farah, and Westy, as they discuss indie games and their developers. Welcome to The Unintelligibles.
So, Farah, we have an idea.
Okay.
What you need for your streams, either starting soon screen or as a follower notification, is like a customized bat symbol that just kind of swings around with like your design. If it's like a follower, you
Like-
can put the follower name in it.
Like the bat signal, but
Yeah, but
But
fair
you.
the bad signal.
So, you know, a pair of boobs attached with some wings on the side just floating around.
yeah, so like how would that work if it was me?
What do you
Let's put
mean?
boobs
Would
on
it be a okay.
Yeah, big titty bat. I'm sorry. Is that not clear? Look at the bat
Okay.
symbol. Instead of like the
So
two little
I
dips, just big boob.
should use all of my alerts should be the bat symbol, but I should add boobies to it to avoid copyright infringement.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think it would
Yeah.
be
That woman never existed. Never.
Never.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
that
real.
I mean that particular logo probably doesn't exist.
It doesn't, Shouldn't.
If it does, it's not been like, copyrighted.
Yeah, it's just some like
Exactly.
horny guy who wanted to draw boobs on the batarang symbol.
Yeah.
I'm sure there has somebody's been done that.
There
Yeah.
probably is.
Because I was like, hey, you can make that your follower notification, so it kind of swings around and then settles, like up in the sky with their name.
Mm.
I want you to know that I looked up Batman logo with boobs, and there are so many results already.
Really?
Oh my
Wait.
god! Wait, no, held up.
Yes. There's one big man, and it says Boob Man. It's a shirt.
Oh
you
my
can buy.
god!
Oh my god.
It's got like nipples and everything.
I
It's
would
really
wear
nice.
this.
I also like the Buttman one. I think that's pretty good.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Where's Buttman?
There's one that's
oh my
Batman
god!
and Batgirl. But one of them, the Batman has a dick and it says Batman had a chode.
What?
Batgirl just says big boobs.
What?
What? This is a genre that's insane. Oh, I see it. I see a vagina necklace. Why is that in this?
What the hell?
Oh, there is. There's a lot of Batman symbols that have boobs and they're just Batwoman.
Yeah. There's a pretty like the one that I see a lot is definitely the Boob Man with the just big fat badonkers with nipples. And it's still an outline, but
Boob man. Well, shit.
I got Hello Titty for Hello Kitty as I scroll down the bat.
I also got a why did the N hentai logo show up?
Oh. What you searching? Hold up.
It's just in here. It's on Redbubble.
Oh.
Oh, it's Redbubble. That's why.
Oh, I see Hello Titty. I see it.
Someone has it on their tow hook on their truck. That's crazy.
I saw the Reddit post.
Oh my god. What a trooper.
AFK, when you're editing this, I want you to leave this part in.
Yeah, people need to know about Boob Man.
Yes. Just put it as like a special intro.
We're just educating the masses. Speaking of the
Yes.
masses,
I
hi
see
everyone.
the Batman, Batgirl, Batman had a chode. Cry.
Yeah, that was
emoji.
wild. I was like, where'd that one even come from?
I got Arva's like, all right, time to move along, and Paris is like, hold up, I found
I
a
can't,
chode.
bro. I just can't. Like, you know what? Anyways, Arva, as you were saying.
No, you're good. You're good. This is a very strong subject to start with.
No,
So transitioning into today's topic.
I hope
Which
this-
also has
Oh?
nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
Oh.
that's okay, sadly. Unless we want to talk about boobs, but I'm the wrong person to talk about boobs unless they're like a
Yeah.
man titty.
The moobs.
Men can have nice boobies.
They can, and I want a boyfriend with nice boobies so bad, but God, it's never gonna happen. Actually, never say never, but in this case, I am saying never. Hi, everyone. If that was the first thing you heard in this podcast episode, then you're in the right place. Welcome into the Unintelligibles. I'm Arva, your host this week, and I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, as always, Farah the Bat and Westy.
Hello.
Hello.
I had to say bat this time because it pertains to the conversation we just had about fucking
You've
dad
used my
titties.
full legal name.
I
I
did.
I
feel like I'm
heard
in
that and I was
trouble.
like, ooh.
I did
I'm
the
in
full government name. I
trouble.
had to tie it into the Batman thing. Otherwise,
Doesn't
how
make any
else are we
sense.
supposed to know you're a bat, even though it's your username on every platform?
Well, if you're not watching on YouTube, on Spotify, you can't like see that I'm a
That's
bat, I
true.
guess.
See,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of you guys, Spotify listeners, because I know a lot of you actually probably listen on Spotify. That's where I listen. Spotify's amazing.
I'm a YouTube frog. Sorry, gamers.
No, it's okay. YouTube's also good. Those are like the two platforms I would only like watch or listen to podcasts on, honestly.
Yeah. I prefer YouTube, but some podcasts.
'Cause you get the visuals.
Yeah, I like the visual
Yeah.
because, like, how AFK sneaks in some things. Like sometimes when you're just like randomly sitting there listening, and they'll be like, "Yeah, there's this weird thing." It'll put a picture up for you, be like, "Oh, cool." So I don't have to go search that myself. I can just, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, no. I think it depends because there's some podcasts that are very geared towards just being purely talk. And there's some that are more, they have like bits and stuff they show off. So
Yeah.
depends which ones I'm listening to. But how are you guys? How are you guys today? I mean, it's been so long since I last saw you guys. A whole
Yeah,
week.
it's been a
Right.
whole week since we last recorded the last episode.
That hangover's a distant memory.
Yeah. Are you hungover today for unrelated reasons?
No, I'm not actually. Thank God. It was so nice to not wake up and have to puke.
Yeah, that's always a nice feeling. Not
That's always
waking
a
up and
good one,
throwing
yeah.
up. Hopefully, you make it out of bed first.
Holy. Right, like at least let me get out of bed first. God.
Oof.
Let me get a foot out of the bed.
Well, I am so tired because the house next door, they're doing construction and they're working on the room that's like we share a wall with. And so I was, the sound like a drill makes when the screw goes all the way and you get the
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
that at like 9:30 in the morning, and I was like, what the fuck?
I think the construction that I also had the same thing where it was like my next door neighbor. She was very kind and she apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry. I have construction for the next few weeks. Like, I'm sorry if you heard any noises, blah, blah, blah. We're like, it's okay. Like, shit happens. But oh my God, it's like a shared wall and it's the same thing. It was like 3-4 weeks. I think it's done now. I don't know. Maybe I just jinxed myself, but it was just like nailing like nails into the wall, so heavy banging, and then there's
Mhm.
like saws, and there was the drill noise. I'm like, oh, it's like 8:30 in the morning. I know you have to work this early, but like, do you really have to? Please.
Yeah. It fucking
Oh.
sucks when I heard that. I first like woke up thinking, is that thunder? And I hear the drill starting going, "Eeng." I was like, oh no.
I know what that is.
And so every time I'd start to drift back to sleep and then just suddenly just bang, bang, bang. Like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No rest for you.
No rest for me. That was the bat.
Good. I've had quite the saga of like Minecraft just
Mhm.
shitting the bed. I have had my Minecraft has gotten corrupted like 4 times this year. It's July, so
Oh.
that's great. And for some reason, like, it just kept getting corrupted over and over and over again. Like, I couldn't launch it, and if I could launch it, I couldn't play online. It wouldn't update the browser. And I had this issue before, and it was because of outdated mods, which makes sense because it can corrupt your Minecraft. But I now have had this issue where I don't even have any mods installed, and it still did it.
Ah.
And now I have mods installed again, but they're not a custom mod pack. It's like a pre-made one. Last time it was custom. And so it regularly updates itself, and it still got corrupted. And it literally, I tried everything. I fully wiped Minecraft and CurseForge off my computer completely. Like, if you looked up Minecraft in my computer, there would be nothing. I got rid of everything. And yet, for some reason, whenever I tried to install it, it wouldn't install. It would say that it couldn't be updated. So it was like totally
Weird.
fucked.
It's
was
in
like
the
just- it
registry,
was-
probably.
I went in the registry
Yeah.
and deleted the files in the registry, and it's still
Oh,
Wait.
damn.
not installed. And I was like, "What?" And it just there has to be some registry file that's deep dark somewhere in there that I can't find, and I was like, maybe I can install like a clean uninstall software, but I ended up Lucia apparently had the exact same problem, and he was like, "Do you know what solved it for me?" And I was like, what?" Because I updated the Microsoft Gaming Companion, I updated my computer, I updated everything, so that was not the issue. And he said, "Try installing it from the Microsoft Store," because you know how you can download the launcher from Minecraft's website. That's the way that I've always done it. Apparently, you can also download it from Microsoft Store. So I did that and it worked.
What?
Yes.
Weird.
It's the exact same program, but for some reason, when you install it from the Microsoft Store, it just works.
Okay, then.
But anyways, I get to play Pixelmon again finally. It's been like a month since I last got to play it because my Minecraft has been corrupted.
I say
That's good
mine's
at least.
mine also acts up a lot. Every time I try and like hop on to play it, it's like error compiling mods, and then I'll like restart it. It's like out of date, so I'll update it. Error compiling mods, and then it'll be like server offline. Like, there's other people on though.
Yeah.
Mine,
I
it was just
genuinely,
it
it's
wouldn't
the
update.
downfall from fucking Microsoft owning Minecraft.
Yeah, mods can just ruin your it can just like completely corrupt. Which is like I'm playing on somebody else's server, so it's fine that I had to do clean it uninstall because I didn't have any world or anything saved. But if
Right.
you do, then you're screwed if you don't have any kind of cloud backup.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to lose it all.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do a Minecraft server eventually for like the community, but it's a lot of work and also a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah, and modded Minecraft servers can get pretty pricey with like the monthly fee you
Yeah.
have to pay to keep them up, especially if you want more dedicated like server space on their side and if you want more people
Mm-hmm.
to be able to play on it. Because I think the base player count is usually 10. So if you ever want more than 10, you have to pay extra.
Yeah, and then you have to get more space on the server too because more people will be building and stuff and blah blah blah. And then you have to make sure the mods you're using everyone can use. It's just it's so much work. It's easier just to honestly play Minecraft with like a group of friends, get a mod pack together, and someone like all chip in for a server or something. Because then at
Yeah.
least it's like friends, so it's a little less, well, a little less work. But it's honestly at this point for me not worth it. As much as I want one, because I would love to have a server, but oh well.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot.
would die from the stress.
There's a lot that goes with that, and then if something happens, everyone's messaging you.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, I know just as much as you.
By the way, why isn't it working? What happened to the server? Arva, the server's not working, Arva.
Like, I know.
I don't know why, bro. That's the wrong person.
I don't know. I just work here. I just paid it.
I just paid for it.
This kind of ties into my topic today, actually.
Oh,
just
let's
a little
go.
Oh,
bit,
hell yeah.
a tiny little bit. I wanted to talk more about indie games today. So the fact that Minecraft went from being indie owned to or being owned by Microsoft, kind of adds up to this. Just because there's a lot of indie games coming out this year or have demos out this year that I'm really excited about, and I am the biggest supporter of indie games because fuck AAA titles. So I just want to talk about that, like favorite indie games you've played, any developers you really like, any games you're looking forward to, anything like that. We can even talk about the big AAAs too and like why we hate them.
Fuck
if
those guys.
that's what
We-
you want to do too, because I got my fair share.
We'll be
Hate.
weaving it into there, I'm sure.
Yeah, little jabs here and there about microtransaction this and releasing unreleased game or unfinished games this. Oh, that pisses me off. Like every AAA title now is released as like an unfinished game, and they're like, oh
Yeah.
well, here's an update later that should have been with the game when it launched because it's a $90 game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Canadians have to spend so much on fucking video games now. Everyone does, but our currency is dog shit, so we have to spend a lot for a game that's not even complete. What?
That's my biggest gripe with AAA titles is if I'm paying full price and all the content is not in the game on release, you're like, hang on, we'll have a patch in about a month. It's like, maybe just release your game 1 month later and give us everything, because like this is
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
or
downfall.
discount.
Yeah. I hate that like it was such a big thing. I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but it was a big thing when like online gaming and like digital releases came out, because it was like, oh, now that they can release, because it patches and updates, and you don't have to buy an entire new game. You can just wait and it will be updated online. But now that means that they don't have to release fully finished games anymore, because they have the ability to update online, whereas before they didn't have that ability, so the game had to be
Yeah.
done when it was released, because they're like, unless you want to have to completely send out another hard copy to everybody, which is so expensive, you had to have everything done in advance. But now that's
Mhm.
not the case anymore, because it's so easy to release day one patches, which like every fucking AAA game on the planet does now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, as much as it makes me sound like a fucking boomer, I'm not even in that category to be called a boomer. I miss older games so much, and physical games so much, because
Oh my
when you were buying
gosh.
the physical game, you're buying the physical game. That is the game. You don't get any more, you don't get any less. It's all going to be on that disc because they didn't have a way to like, you know,
Updated.
Yeah.
push extra content afterwards.
And
I
so
also
Um,
hate when they make you play like single player campaigns. You have to be connected to the internet or whatever. Like in
yes, I
Call of
fucking
Duty,
hate
you
that.
have to be connected to the internet to play the single player campaign.
like,
And it's like,
why?
I'm not playing online. Like, what do you mean?
What's the point of a story mode slash like single player campaign if you have to still go online for it? Like, what?
That is the worst. See, physical copies are from my era of video games. I lived in a time where if we bought a PC game, I would install on my computer, then I'd go over and install on my friend's computer, my other friend's computer, my other friend's computer, and the CD key would just work because there wasn't online verification.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we'd all just sit down and play like Rise of Nations together, like, hey.
Yeah, I remember doing that a few times with my friends. We would like
I did that
pass
with
some games
Roller
around and be like,
Coaster
oh.
Tycoon.
Yep, that too.
It was so great because you're like, someone's like, oh hey dude, you have this game, and I'm like, yeah, I have this disc here. Take it. You can have it now.
Yeah,
Who's gonna stop us?
It's installed. You share, and
yeah.
it was just. It's weird for me to say. It was better for like the experience back then, because when you had that full game on release and everything was in there, like yeah, everything's in there. You don't have to like compared to now sit and wait for this released in early access beta. We don't have an ending yet. Pay full price. It's like no, I don't want to. But also that meant if there was like a game breaking bug and you didn't know about it, there was no fix for it. So
Yes.
there was a downside, because I remember I hit quite a few of those.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
unfortunately, there's always a downside.
It
to,
was
like,
great if
certain
you could
things.
find like item duplication exploits though.
Oh,
because
hell
they
yeah.
couldn't patch it.
Because I was never getting fixed, so you could just always use it.
I'm looking at you, Morrowind on Xbox. That was the best fucking time. Just infinite lockpick.
I played a lot of racing games, so I played, I think it was Forza Motorsport 4, I think. One of those. And online had a glitch, or maybe it was 5. It was one of those. One of the online games had a glitch where you could push yourself outside of the map in like the game of Infected, so you had to like tag people. So every race, I would go to that same corner and like wedge my car in the corner and go outside and go out of bounds and just cheat and win. And it was never gonna get patched. It never got patched because at that point
Dude, I
that
would be
didn't
pissed
happen.
if I had to play against you. I'd be so
Oh,
fucking
it was
mad.
the only reason I did it because other people would do it too. So I'm like, well, if they're gonna do it, I'm not losing this, so I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah.
So that was always fun because yeah, you never if you found an exploit back then, there was no way to like fix it. So you just literally had to just get good at that exploit and you could just use it constantly.
I definitely am a physical copy person. I much prefer to have physical copies of games, but the incentive, like, it's really annoying because the last couple physical copy games I've gotten were both Persona games. They were Persona 5 Royal and Persona
Mm,
3, which is coming out not this year sometime. Next year, I mean, 2024. And it used to be, and lots there are companies that still do this, but I think Atlas is just cheap fucks.
Mm.
It used to be that when you got a pre-order or like the release version of the game, it was like special. Like it came with whatever, a steel book or whatever. I have like this steel book for Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And because I was like, oh, I want to have the steel book, I want it to be like the special release version. But there is no steelbook for the release versions of the game. There's nothing actually. Um, if you pre-order in the United States, you got additional items. They weren't anything crazy. Like there's always that big pre-order package that's like $120 or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about pre-order bonus. So for Persona 5 Royal, it was a pin. It was a Joker pin. And for Persona 3, it is a coaster set, which I was like, awesome. I want the coaster set. Well, that's too bad because you don't live in America. And if you pre order in
Oh,
Canada, you get nothing. You get literally nothing.
that's insane.
You get, I think, 2 additional personas if you pre-order the physical copy of the game. And if you pre-order the digital copy of the game, you get 2 free personas, some extra side quests, and some cosmetics. So they actually incentivize you to have the digital copy more so, which was the same issue with Persona 5 Royal because the pre-order for the physical version didn't give you anything. But the digital version gave you a bunch of extra personas and healing items and all this cosmetic stuff. And I wanted all that stuff because I'm a really big fan of the game and I didn't want to miss out on it. So I ended up getting the digital version because the physical one didn't come with that. And I was pissed
Right.
because I like having the physical copies
I
of my
mean,
games.
a
Yeah.
lot of that
But
is
at
also because if they're going to manufacture physical copies, there's manufacturing fees, there's more people you have to pay. You can't just do a certain amount. It has to be like a bulk minimum.
yeah,
And
and you
so
know,
they
Yeah.
lose
Sega
more.
is a small indie company that really
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't afford that. So I totally get it, Sega. I totally get it. It's fine.
And we always make that joke. It's like, yeah, small indie company, but you have to also keep in mind the big business thing. Like, they only maximize profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
make the joke, small indie company, and they're gonna be like, see, they understand. Charge them more.
Yeah.
So,
It's
They're
always just
also
that's like I mean that's just it that's how companies work. They just want to maximize profits. But it just sucks
yeah.
to not like that was always a thing. That's always been a thing to
Mhm.
get something with a pre-order. Like that's always been an incentive to pre-order the game. It's a guaranteed sale for them. They give you something extra. And it's as simple as like a special case on the game or something like that. And now it's like every single game that I pre-order, I don't get jack shit because I'm not in America. And I'm like, what happened? I got my fucking Steelbook Tomb Raider game and I live in Canada. So that came in, but like, I don't know. It's like, I'm sure it's company dependent. I'm sure there's still lots of companies that do
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Steelbooks and stuff. I don't really pre-order games ever, so I wouldn't know. But I would be really sad if that started like losing, like going out of fashion. Pre-order, uh, physical pre-order bonuses.
It kind
I
of
don't think the
is.
digital
It might
ones.
be. They're trying to
Yeah,
push digital games really hard.
Again,
I'm sure that it's also other companies that are doing it where they're like, oh yeah, if you get the physical copy of the game, it's you get the game, but if you get the digital copy of the game, we'll give you these 10 free loot boxes or whatever.
it's also because if you like pre-order the digital, there's not any manufacturing costs. It's literally just a link to a download. There's no extra fees that they really have to worry about. It's not trading hands. So from a business perspective, I can look at it like, yeah, I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I came from that era of you get the pre-order and you get like swag with it. You're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and it used
Yeah.
to be good stuff too. Like you didn't even have
Oh,
to
yeah.
pay that much extra, and you would get like good shit. And now it's like the fucking One More Time Persona 5 Royal pre-order package was a disgrace, bro. Like I think it was $50 or $60 more than the base game,
Ooh,
and it's like 70% of the items in the pre-order are made of paper or cardboard.
Oh.
that's awful.
And, like,
Ooh.
the only thing of value in there is probably the, laptop bag, and everything else is just, like, there's tarot cards that are made of cardboard. There's the big chest that you get made of cardboard. There's, like, a picture frame for, a card, like, it's, like, a card with a thank you message or some shit, I don't know, that's made of cardboard. It's like, this is garbage.
That's such a quick transition because the last game that I actually pre-ordered was Darksiders 2. I love Darksiders. And they sent me a physical, like, resin 3D printed version of Death's Mask that I actually have sitting on my bookcase still. Like, yeah, that's nice high quality, and that came out in 2013, I think.
You know what's funny? I have the pre-order for Persona 5 Royal, and in the box was a Joker mask. So it's like the mask and it came with the mask stand. And I didn't get the pre-order on release. I missed the window for it. So instead, I was looking online and I found a guy who runs through Instagram, and he 3D prints and makes like resin masks of the Persona characters' masks. And they're really, really good quality. So I got a Joker mask, and it's like really good quality. It's like really nicely made, and it's really nice. And then I, after the fact, got the Persona 5 Royal pre-order box because somebody was selling it on Marketplace. And I compared the mask that he had made and the mask that they give you in the pre-order package, and the pre-order one is just like this shitty plastic mask that's like absolute garbage. And I'm like, why why multi-billion dollar company do this to me?
Sad. Yeah. It really do be like that. That's why I've shifted to, well, I've never really been in support of AAA games or titles, but they were like the main source of getting games, and they were better back in the day.
Yeah.
But indie devs and games are now carrying on that like golden era of games that AAA titles once had. It's like the baton passed down to all the indie devs, probably because they're just like us and they're fucking sick of it.
Yeah,
They're like, I can make a game, let's do it. Let's make it better.
I definitely feel like indie gaming is more popular than AAA gaming right now,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a shift than what it used to be when I was a kid, when it was like nobody really played indie games.
Yeah,
And
you had no
especially if you
idea.
didn't have a PC, like I just played on Xbox, so the Xbox support for indie games was a lot smaller back then. So I didn't even have the opportunity to play a lot of indie games because I didn't have a PC, so I
Mhm.
didn't have Steam.
Yeah.
So, I'm in a
Mhm.
very fun, unique position because it's no secret. I'm old. I'm old as fuck. My very first, what you could even consider a gaming console, would either be Atari or a DOS. That was what I had
Right.
when I was a little younger. So that's what I grew up with.
A little younger.
Just a little younger. I'm not
A
saying
tiny little bit.
exactly how old I am. It's a fun mystery no one can quite figure out yet. Estimated is between 40 and 90, which
Oh,
very close.
40 and 90.
That's the guess. But
So funny.
when I was what era? That would probably be within the Super Nintendo era. That was the most, if I think back to that, that's the most fever dream. I don't know what the fuck was happening in video games. I love video games though. Like that was so fun. That was my entertainment, was reading and video games. And we had random devs being like, here's a Pac-Man game, but you're not playing Pac-Man, you're guiding Pac-Man through his life and he has to go buy milk for his Pac baby. And I'm like, what is this weird ass fucking thing? And then it cuts over. It's like, now you're in the Wild West, but it's a bullet hell and there's ninjas flying in the sky. And I'm like, am I high? I know I'm high right now, but am I high right now?
This is laced. What's going on? I'm tripping.
The one that I remember the most, I actually remember the name. It was called Legion, The Legend of Excalibur. And I went to a fucking GameStop, or EB Games at the time, because I think it was like a little before GameStop, but EB Games. And I was looking around, and this one dude was just like, yo, you don't want like Battlefront 2 here. Try this one. And it was like a little, like, not quite indie game, because indie wasn't a thing back then, but it was like small developer, small publisher, and I got it. That shit was the weirdest thing, because it was a top-down Diablo-style action RPG that came like before Diablo. And it was like the same style of like your different heroes have different abilities. And everything about like that era has transitioned over to indie games now. Like I can clearly
Yeah.
see it. So
Yeah.
and all those small little, oh, you don't want that. This is from the tiny little developer called Activision. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, all right, now I'm here.
Call of Duty is my favorite indie game.
Me too. Same with you might have not heard of this one. This one's very niche. Overwatch 2
Oh, damn.
and Valorant. Very small devs, very, very unknown. Grassroots, you know.
Oh, yeah, I had to look it up. It was Westwood.
Westy Wood, and time for you to make
They
something
got-
called Westy Wood and
Oh.
claim it.
Hashtag Westy.
Westwood.
It turned into Midway Games. So now it's Midway.
Midway Games.
Midway's a decently big one.
Right. That's wild. That's always crazy.
So yeah, watching the small little, like, granted they did Space Invaders, but they didn't really do anything super big for years. And then just randomly, it's like, oh yeah, there's what, Spy Hunter, Rampage. They also did Mortal Kombat, and then nothing, and then suddenly they're a small developer, and now they're fucking Midway.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's another cool thing, is like keeping an eye on some of the indie devs coming out recently, or not coming out, but like the indie devs that are out right now and have been making stuff. It's like, which one of you are going to be like the next big dev?
Yeah,
Because you can
I
already kind
feel
of see
like-
it with some games. Like,
Devolver.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like it's really, like, it used to be a little bit easier for companies that are indie to like get into the AAA market, but I feel like it's a little bit more difficult now, just because it's like the current AAA companies kind of have like a fucking stronghold on the industry, and they are bullies. Like, they will bully
Yes.
Oh yeah.
the indie companies, so that, because they don't want to lose money and they don't want any more competitors.
Especially
there's-
not to an indie company. That'd be so
Yeah.
bad.
And it sucks when, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo create the biggest, mobile well, not mobile consoles, but consoles that are not PC. And they make their own games, and they own their own AAA gaming companies. So you're up against the people that make the consoles,
Yeah.
which is like an impossible person to beat. And I feel like that's why there's so many more indie games on PC too. I mean,
Absolutely, especially with
literally
Steam.
everything gets approved on Steam. Like, the
Yeah.
shittiest games on the planet get approved on Steam.
Yeah.
So you don't even
Mhm.
have to be a good developer to get your game on Steam. And a lot of people, the default program, like if you're gonna program in Unity or whatever, your default is for PC always. So it's like
Yeah.
extra work to port to another console. Usually that only happens if an indie game gets successful and then they have the
Mhm.
money to actually make the port afterwards.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, because then the
Hades.
consoles.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
Stardew and stuff like that, where they're, like, on every console now because they're like, "Oh, this was a hit, so we need this on our consoles."
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm glad
Hades
that
is really good.
Hmm.
one of my favorite companies for like a really long time was Telltale. I loved Telltale games. And then
Yes.
they went bankrupt and I was devastated. And then they're coming back and I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah,
They got
yeah,
the
I'm so
bailout.
I
excited.
Telltale's is great.
And that's so sad because like they literally were doing so well, but they tried to expand so quickly. It wasn't even that they like were making bad games. I mean, some would argue that making like Minecraft choose
Uh,
your own adventures were, but they sold, like they were doing well. They were making money. They just tried to expand too quickly, so they were like ahead of the game. And it wasn't a matter of them just making like a terrible fucking game that bombed and they lost all of their money. So I was just like so sad because I was like, this is a preventable death.
that is also the thing with indie
Yeah.
companies. So like, Activision and Blizzard, they have the capital where if they throw money behind something and it doesn't do well, it's not really a big issue to them anymore. It's just like, oh well,
Yes.
move along. That was a fail. We're gonna cover it up with something else. But an indie company, if they have like say two good games and then one just really bombs, that company's probably gone.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's
you
really
can't. You don't
sad.
have. You just can't afford it.
It's
Yeah,
too competitive to have a bad game, unfortunately, because then that's your reputation. No matter how good your other games were, if you release a game that's bad, then everyone's gonna be like, they're gonna remember the bad game more.
exactly. And because of that, I feel that's like you can tell the little indie devs that like see that and they don't take any like risks or anything with it. They just keep it very mainstream kind of gameplay. And then
Mhm.
the indie devs that go off and be like, you know what? Now we're gonna do this. I feel like they don't do as well because they're doing something a little weird. But like they give a lot more life to that game over a longer period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I was so happy when No Man's Sky kind of came back
Yeah.
from the dead
The
because
redemption story of that game is so
yeah,
great.
Yeah, it
I
is.
watched like a YouTube documentary on it and it was so good and like they really they made promises they couldn't keep, but they worked so hard to like make good on them after the fact. It was just one of those things where they just released the game too early. And in all fairness, they delayed the release multiple times and people were getting really upset. So they kind of felt pressured to release it. Not that that's
Mhm.
an excuse to release an unfinished game. But they did make good on like all of their promises and then some after the fact. And it could have totally happened where everybody just was like, I don't care. And the game just didn't get any traction after the fact. But it did. And I was really
Yeah.
surprised because the internet has a very short attention span. And I was not expecting anybody after the original game came out and it wasn't what anyone expected it to be and it wasn't as good as anyone expected it to be. I was surprised that people actually went back to it after the updates got released because I kind of expected them to release those updates and everyone would just be like, "Meh, I'm over it."
Yeah, like you promised this before, so like what's gonna guarantee this is you're delivering it? But
Yeah.
people gave it a second chance and it's
And or
great.
yeah, they just moved on to the next game, but it actually like it's a good game and the publishing company or not the publishing company, the development company, fuck publishing companies.
Real.
The development company had was like a small team and they worked really hard and like they deserved the game to be successful and I'm glad that it worked out for them because it went terribly wrong. Like that they got really lucky that they were able to salvage that game because it should have, after the original disappointment, it should have like fallen apart, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised because like the internet is a very unforgiving place.
Yeah. And they like to not go back on their words ever. So when I saw everyone was shitting on No Man's Sky when it came out because they're like, oh, it didn't deliver anything it was promised. When I saw it again a few years later, everyone's like, oh, they've updated it and they fixed it and it's what they promised and it's a good game now. I was like, what? What? One, they still put the effort in to fix the game, which is incredible. And two, you guys actually listened to them and played it and liked it. What's going on here? But I was very glad to see it because yeah, it was disheartening seeing that come out and everyone shit on it constantly. With once again, I get they really didn't deliver any of their promises.
No.
But it got shit on so much. It got shit on so damn much that I still felt bad for the devs because that would be very disheartening. But the fact that they fixed it and people actually paid attention and enjoy the game now is very nice to see. Good redemption story because that's rare. Like we just talked about, you make one bad game as an indie dev and it could be your last ever because that sticks out more than any good game can.
Exactly. Everyone will always remember
Yeah.
the negatives, and
Mhm.
anytime someone's like, "But this is a positive," it's like, "Yeah, but what about all these negatives?" Like, man,
Yeah. Oh,
but it wasn't what they said at the start. It's like, all right, but the end result is still the same. So, like, why are you mad over something years ago?
right. Like No Man's Sky has done better than any AAA title will ever do with releasing a game without any of the promises reached. You know
Like
how many
the
AAA titles do
content,
that?
the amount of content they forced in there. Like, I, I think it was a few years ago when they did like 3 major updates in a row, and each one was like
Yeah.
very significant in changing the game. I was like, you know what? I appreciate this.
Because it shows they did care of delivering their promises. They were hollow promises at the beginning, but like they had truth to them because they were eventually going to put that into the game, which was nice to see. Yeah, it was like I watched the timeline because I also watched a video on it because I just love watching some video essays on this stuff. And I watched a video of like the first couple, like the first year or so, they released like smaller updates that like fixed things, added some new things, but they're very like small changes. And then I think it was yeah, like 2 to 3 years after the launch. I think it was two. Somewhere around there, they released, yeah, like the three like huge updates back to back, which changed the game completely, basically making it into the game that it's supposed to be. And they continue to update it, I'm pretty sure too. I actually have not played No Man's Sky yet because I just don't have time, but I'm pretty sure it still gets updated to this day. I
It
see so
has an
many people
update
playing it
right
now
now. It
too.
was trying to download. Major update released.
Oh, speak of the fucking devil, look at that. Yeah, so
Wow.
also another reason I love indie devs is like a lot of the games continue support for a long time afterwards because you know it's their pride and their joy. Like they don't have a whole bunch of titles to keep up with like AAA developers, so they can kind of put more time and stick with their games for longer.
Yep.
Usually, unless they start working on another thing, which is understandable because then they're
Well, and
small, they gotta
also,
work.
like, if you lose all your money, like, if you put a lot of time and money into a game and you don't sell to recover, you're in the hole, and it's really hard to continue working on a game if
Mhm.
you aren't gaining any money on it because, like, any time you spend working on a game that isn't profiting, you like people gotta eat. They gotta pay their rent, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, there's, like it's good, like, I'm really glad that they kept working on it because there's really, like, they could've just given up, like, after the original negative reception, they could've just been like, "Oh, that sucks. I guess we'll either try again or we'll just close the company." And, like, definitely, I feel like indie companies have less of an ability to just, like, move on to the next game, whereas bigger companies remember when everyone was like, "Oh, CD Projekt Red is such an indie company," and it's
Oh
like
no, not CD Projekt Red.
Oh no.
they I want okay, like, everybody knows when Cyberpunk 2077 came out, it was a mess. Like, it was
Yeah.
just so unfinished, it was so buggy, it was, like, one of the worst released games that had come out in terms of how unfinished it was in, like I mean, even still, it's, like, one of the shittiest, most unfinished games that have ever been released. And they did a lot of bug
Whoa,
fixes.
Anthem exists. Thank you. Anthem
That
is like
you're right. You're right. You're right.
dog water.
They did bug fixes after the fact, but the thing about CD Projekt Red is that they didn't have to fix the game. They made their money back on that game already because the hype was so high that everybody pre-ordered it. Like they had already made their money back on it, and then they make other big games like The Witcher and stuff. So like they have other sources of revenue where they didn't have to fix the game properly. And so they
Yeah.
never did. Like it's years later. When did it come out? Or like at least 2 years ago, right?
2019, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like just before the pandemic.
Yeah, so they could have done what No Man's Sky did, and like they could have implemented features that were promised that didn't end up getting put in. Like there's a whole transit system in game, like a railway system that never even got put in that was supposed to be
Oh.
in the game. And there's lots of stuff that they could have done to make the game better. But they
Well,
did
they
not.
have. They have. The
They
game's a lot
have.
more stable now, and
It
ever
is. They
since releasing Edge Runners, the game is like playable. I would
it
consider.
Yeah, they did have
it's
an Edge Runners
it's
update.
playable. But
And they're releasing a DLC soon. A big DLC.
it just sucks that there's so many components of the game that didn't get finished that will never get finished.
Oh, absolutely. But
Well-
that's because they just overstretch themselves way too much.
Not quite. So Cyberpunk is a weird one because a lot of people don't realize that before Cyberpunk was anything else, it was a tabletop RPG. It was Cyberpunk
Yes.
Red. And
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has always been, you know, on D&D where it's like, oh, I gotta continue my... No, Cyberpunk is literally the story of how you die. And all the mechanics, there is so many fucking mechanics in that game. It is like micromanaging your own small business for one character.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you can't really fit in all those mechanics. And I think they try. I think that was the problem, is they really wanted to try, and it was too much.
Yeah. Especially with the pressure they had on them with their, what the fuck that's called? The investors or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
fuckers.
And I'm part of the community. I will tell you right fucking now, the tabletop community is the most critical and the most fucking butthurt community of anyone you will ever meet.
Oh, I believe it.
These people will spend $700 on one figure, unpainted, unfinished, just so they can finish it themselves. I won't. I'm poor. But I've been playing fucking tabletop, not even like tabletop RPGs, like I've played fucking Mech Warrior Battletech. I've played that, which is what, going back to like early 2000s, where you have like thousands of individual pieces, the actual Warhammer little figurine thing. Anytime there is a video game adaptation based on that, those are the people who will review bomb it, because they're like, well, it wasn't this, and it wasn't this, and it wasn't this. Even if they update it later,
Mhm.
they can't let it go. So Cyberpunk did suffer from that. It had hype because it was CD Projekt Red, because Keanu Reeves was behind it too.
Yeah.
And so when you have Keanu as the face, you've now set your standards so high with all these promises, and the people are just going to be like, oh, I'm going to, look at what is Cyberpunk? What is Cyberpunk all about? Wow, you can do all this in the, tabletop RPG game. I want a rocket launcher grenade dick. Turns out you can't really have that.
Yeah.
So,
They also hyped it up for so long too that it didn't help, because it was like an 8-year. I remember seeing the original trailer for it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like 8 years before they released it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And they built up that hype, and then they added Keanu, and they built up a lot of hype, and then just one, like you said, delivered it to a very critical community. Partially, obviously, not the full buyer base. It's tabletop RPG players, but a lot of them are coming for that because it's Cyberpunk.
it's what they
That's probably a
play,
game
and
they
they're
played
like,
before.
yeah, I want that.
So it was a big mixture of like shooting themselves in the foot a bunch constantly, which sucks Because yeah, I fully am in the mindset of I recommend to get Cyberpunk if it's on sale. Now maybe full price is worth it, but I still think that buying it on sale, because it goes on sale a lot and it goes on sale for 50% like every single time. So it's like a $40 game when it's on sale, which I think is worth it. With the updates that have been released and with the DLC that's coming out, and how the game is actually playable now, I would say it's worth it, but it's still is disappointing, and I want more cyberpunk themed games to make up for the hole in my heart that is this game.
Hey man, the what was the cat one that came out?
Oh, Stray was
Stray.
wonderful.
Dude, I
Oh,
loved Stray.
Stray is
was
like one
Yes.
of my
so
favorite
good.
games ever. Amazing. That is a wonderful way of how to do cyberpunk.
Yeah, it is.
I loved it. I loved it a lot. I was very glad to see that because I love the genre and aesthetic of cyberpunk so much. It's one of my favorites. I love the dystopian, futuristic, cyber enhanced cities and like grungy shit. Which is why I wanted to play cyberpunk so bad and why I bought it twice. I pre-ordered it on the Xbox and I also bought it on my PC.
And damn, you had
Um,
the faith in that one.
I did because, like I said, I was waiting 8 years for it. I was one of the original like. I saw it when that first trailer came out with that like bitch that's sitting in the crosswalk with her mantis blades out, getting shot by the cops. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Sad. To be fair though, when I played it on my Xbox One, it actually did not have any bugs for my playthrough. I beat the game in like one sitting and there wasn't a single bug that happened. Then I played it again on my PC like a few weeks later, a few months later, and it was terrible. Now that I play it, it's a lot better because once again, it's had some updates to fix that shit, so it's a bit better. But my Xbox was actually the best place that I played it on, which was shocking. It looks like dog shit though. The graphics were so turned down because it was like a last gen console that that's probably why, because it looked like fucking shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's a very sad story because well, it's once again they're working on it a little bit. So hopefully they continue to do it and they don't half-ass it and then leave it as like a half completed husk. But we'll see. We'll see how this DLC does. It's supposed to release in September. So if this DLC is good, then I have some hope. If it's not good, then I'm
Eh.
waiting for other Cyberpunk games.
Go to the modding community and be like, hey, fix this.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
fix
There's a
the
lot of
game
mods for it
for us.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, yep, they gave
There
us the
is-
skeleton, but we'll put the meat in there.
We'll fix it. God bless the modding community also. Mwah, I love you guys. You guys are so great.
Hell
You guys
yeah.
come up with mods so fucking fast.
When the developers won't do it, the modders will.
For
Right.
fucking real though.
The like honestly, the other indie devs, I would consider them still indie devs because you're making assets for a game and like honestly, some bitches even make like a full new game out of a mod. So you're also
Yo.
indie devs in my eyes, you modders. You don't get too much. You don't get like any money for it either, unless you put it behind a paywall. But most people just mod for free, and it's like you are a saint.
They mod and
You
it's
are
like,
an actual saint.
here's my Patreon. Just if you want to, it's like, I'll give you some
Right,
cash.
like you put so much work into this mod. Of course, I'm gonna pay you a little bit because this should have been in the game already. So, bitch, I'm paying you for this.
XCOM 2 and XCOM 2 are like the biggest things for that because they have so many mods, but there's like 4 in general. If you get them, you have a totally new game. It's like something you've never played before, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Love this.
Right. I was like the Fallout games. Their modding support was always crazy too, and a lot of the mods were like very in depth and would change like heavy aspects for the game, like big old aspects. You're like, holy shit, buddy, you should make your own game. Like what? Oh my god.
Literally, if you use enough mods, Skyrim is a completely different game.
Oh yeah.
That's true with any Bethesda game though, because I did
was
the
gonna
same
say,
thing
that's
in
a Bethesda
Oblivion.
thing. You can just mod the shit out of those games, and they're like brand new.
Mm-hmm. Like I can't even
Which is
play
great.
vanilla Skyrim anymore. I can't. I need
I
mods.
was going to, but I think for my first playthrough, I'm just gonna do mods because it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I won't mod it too much because I do want some like vanilla experience, but at
Sex
the same
mod
time,
is required. You have to have
right.
Skyrim sex
And I'll
mod.
stream sex on my Twitch too. I'll be
Hell
like,
yeah.
hey
And
guys, I have my sex
realistic
mod.
pubic hair, gross. That's a real mod.
I don't doubt it. There's always the funniest thing is like those mods have like the most effort put into them sometimes too. Like every individual hair is like fucking rendered.
And it
It's
grows
like,
in
damn.
real time. There's like, holy
Yeah, it's
shit.
got physics and shit. You're like, whoa. Out of all the mods, this one's like the best one. You have so much effort put into these pubes.
It's like the person who could hold the world for ransom if they really put their mind to it.
They could. They have too much power. They sat there for hours and hours and days and maybe even weeks on end trying to like model some pubes.
Man, it's a dedicated community.
They are. They got like burden in their eyes now, so they look anywhere and they just see pubes. Pubes.
Quick question for both
Mhm.
of you. If you had to pick 3 indie games, what would you say is like your favorite indie games?
Journey. Always.
Oh, that's good. That's a good
That's
one.
my favorite game of all time.
What about the other 2 though?
I'm trying to order mine right now. Well, I guess that doesn't matter the order. I'm just
You're
gonna say
asking me
them.
to remember games that I've played is the issue here.
Oh. You hear that, devs? Make your games more memorable.
No, I'm just fucking stupid. Spiritfarer is a really good one.
Ooh, yes, another solid choice. I need to play that game. I've heard it destroys you.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Spiritfarer.
Oh, Spiritfarer.
Yeah, I've heard that's very sad.
I heard it was sad and I never got to play it.
I have it, so I'll play it eventually, and I will definitely cry if it's as sad as people are saying it is.
You will probably, yeah. It's very good though.
I think mine would be Stray, Power Wash Sim, and Stardew Valley, probably. There's a lot of good games, but Stardew Valley I have on every single console I own. Like I literally have bought that game so many times, and I have like over 100 to 300 hours on every console because I just can't get enough of that game. But Power Wash Sim is also amazing. I just love the devs. They keep putting out wonderful fucking. The SpongeBob DLC was so cool. They also have like other cool stuff. Oh, it's so good. So good. And then Stray obviously is just like a fucking masterpiece. That game was genuinely so amazing.
Yeah.
I only wish that at the very least, there was at the very end, or at least in a post-credit scene, you were like reunited with your cat family.
I mean, it's heavily implied you will be.
But that's not enough for
it
me.
was, but I did wish you could see like the cats meet up, but no. I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a sequel where you just run around with our cats friends. It's just like a running
nice.
sim. Just running fields with kitties.
Then there's a special place in my heart for like classic RPG Maker like horror games.
Oh god.
Yeah.
The Corpse Party.
No.
Yeah.
Corpse Party doesn't count. It sucks.
Corpse Party is what I like got introduced to them all, but then you realize that like there's
when you
so many
play it as
better.
an adult, it's like, wow, this is like there's so many weird fetish shit in this game.
Yeah.
I never played it, so I don't know.
Eve, Witch's House.
Yeah. Mad Father.
Misayo,
Oh, Mad
Father.
Yeah.
They're so good.
There's a good selection.
There's lots of very good ones. And there's lots of games that are like what's the one that I need to play? It's like they're not RPG Maker games, but they're like similar and they have the same vibes to them, which I really
Fear
like.
and Hunger.
Well, now I need to know what that one is because
that game looks similar in aesthetic. It's not RPG Maker. I don't think it doesn't look like it, but it looks similar like aesthetic wise.
What the fuck?
I've heard it's very, very, very intense.
Like Omori was very good. I loved Omori.
Omori is very good.
And I have it. Where is it? I want it. Something Night Alone, I think.
Night
Oh. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yomo Wari Night Alone. That's what it is.
Ah,
It's another indie
Okay.
game that's like not RPG Maker. It might no, it's not, but it's like similar
It's got
vibes.
that vibe to it,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was the one that you said?
oh,
Fear and
Just
Hunger?
fear and hunger.
yeah, that looks like it's a paper mache nightmare.
I
Oh
I've heard a
my.
lot about it and I've heard it's very intense, but I think I wanna give it a go.
Indie horror is such a good. I mean, it's like I feel like there's no in between. Like it's either like a masterpiece or it's like the shittiest game you've ever played
It
in your
really
entire
is.
life. Like
It
there's
really
no in
is.
between.
Well,
Yeah. It's either like cheap jump scares and like really shit assets they've used, or it's like really good and you're like, wow, what the
no. Hang on. There is one in the middle, and I will
Oh.
Song of Horror. I will always say is like a perfect middle ground
Oh
because it's not really jump scares. It's like tension that builds, and you get like these moments of something's trying to break in. You got to go hold the door as you see a hand's clawing at you. But it's not jump scares, and it's not like the most scary thing when you finally do see like what it is.
right.
But it's like a good tension of, I have to hide before this thing sees me, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Horror games that have like the right atmosphere and like that constant like sense of like something's watching. I love that. That scares me way more than I know jump scares do get you at the time, but like after the jump scare is done, you're just angry. Like
Yeah.
after they're done jump scaring me, I'm like, whatever, fuck that. That was stupid. But if like if there's a good atmosphere and like tension constantly in a horror game, then I will be shitting my pants the entire time.
That's why I liked Amnesia the Bunker because
Oh
it was
yeah.
like you're just
I need to
like
play that.
constantly in
Oh,
fear
it's
the
so
whole
good.
time.
I sat and played that in one playthrough. It was just like I couldn't stop. It's
I'll probably
so
do that
good.
too. That's
It-
what I did when I played Darkness Descent.
It's only
I
like
think.
7 hours, so it's not the
Oh,
longest. So
okay.
it's cool because it randomizes everything. So when you beat one difficulty, nothing is where it was the first time.
Oh, see, I'm also a
interesting.
big fan of that.
And so
That helps so much with replayability.
because I like found one code and I actually started up another game on like hard mode and I went to go get that code and see if it was the same. No, it wasn't even there anymore. There was nothing there, and I got ambushed. And I was like, "Motherfucker!"
Damn, that's
No
cool.
cheating.
That would make me spooky.
Yeah, so I do like even like the voices you hear are all pre-recorded through various responses. So if you hear something on the radio, it's been piecemealed together to be a new code for you to crack each time. So,
Oh, interesting.
so yeah, no one can really help you with it because your playthrough is totally randomized every time.
Huh. That's cool. I like that.
I thought it was neat, but
Hell
every
yeah.
time I was like, "Where do I find this?" People are like, "Dude, we don't fucking know. It's different."
That'd be perfect game for backseating too. Holy shit, because then no one can actually backseat you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they really
they'll still
can.
try,
They can try, and then you can laugh at them because then they don't know.
then you can ban them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hell yeah. There's one more thing before I have to like do a dice roll or
Oh, no.
a coin flip
Wait.
because I didn't pick a system for this.
Before
Mhm.
I gotta say the three of mine that people.
Oh
did to play.
yeah.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
us yours.
No, you don't get to say anything.
Too bad. Subnautica, because I fucking love Subnautica despite my fear of
Very
water.
valid.
Tunic. If you've never played Tunic, that is like,
Another game I need to play.
oh my god, Tunic is so fucking good. And I'm not spoiling anything, but the way it introduces you to like the mechanics is fucking brilliant. Except for the very last puzzle, if you want one of the endings, because there's multiple endings. That is the most insane thing I've ever seen, and fuck you, devs who did that. Fuck you, whatever dev Finji. Like, what the shit did you make me do in that last puzzle? Kiss my fat ass. And then Night in the Woods. I I really love Night and
I
Tips.
love Night in the
Oh,
Woods.
yeah.
That's a really good game.
Yeah,
God, there's just so many fucking good indie games.
if you haven't played Tunic, do it with zero backseating. Because if somebody pops in and just tells you, like, oh, hey, do this, they just ruin the entire mechanic and, like, the secret for the next level. Because someone tried to do that with me, and I had my mod just instantly time me out and banning left and right.
Yeah. That's the one thing I love puzzle games so much, but I hate playing them because everyone seems to think that it's instantly like backseat permitted. And I'm like, girl, I actually am really good at puzzles, so shut up. The whole fun of the puzzle game is learning how to do the puzzle. You're ruining the whole game.
Yes, I fucking hate that. So every time there's a puzzle game, it's instantly like, if you post one spoiler, you're gonna get timed out for like 1 year.
Yeah.
Or forever. I'm forever. If anybody ever spoils in my chat, it's an instant permaban.
Because that's just awful.
Unless it's in like a genuine accident, which
Yeah.
is like because
You
I
can
have
tell.
I have it always pinned in story games. I always have like no spoilers, and I've had people come in and be like, "Oh, I love when this happens," and instant ban. And my mods know that too. They'll instant ban anybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is an accident. You can tell when it's an accident because they'll be like, they'll mention something that like happened, but it corresponds to something else, and they're just like,
Yeah.
ah, shit.
Like,
That's like,
I'm sorry.
you know, just don't do that again.
Yeah, you know what you did wrong, so I have faith in you that you won't do it again.
Yeah, play Tunic.
Mm.
It's
I want
so
to. I
good.
have it. I need to play it because I love me some
It'll
it's on
break
my
your
wish
brain.
list.
It'll break your brain so hard.
Okay, good.
I
Love me
have.
some of that.
It's not even like a break your brain in an unfair way. It's a break your brain in a I didn't know this was possible way. So good.
I love that. That was like The Witness. The Witness was another good puzzle game I really enjoyed. That broke my brain a lot because some of the puzzles were like super 4-dimensional. Like they had an extra layer to them that you would like realize halfway through. You're like, oh, why is this not working? And then you'd be like, oh shit, there's like a whole other thing to it.
Oh, like a antechamber.
Yeah. Man, I need to play more puzzle games.
I'm just
yeah,
too stupid.
solid
Bro.
choices. I'm actually really good at puzzle games, but I just don't like to play them a lot on stream because as soon as I push that go live button, my brain cells diminish. So I'm not the
Literally,
strongest performer
yes.
on stream. But that's okay. I'm practicing. I'm practicing at doing puzzle games on stream. So like I'm increasing my brain cell count for streaming. One last game I want to bring up because of the whole Cyberpunk thing before I pick a winner. There's a game actually supposed to be coming out. I don't know when. I don't think there's a date set for it yet, but there's like another Cyberpunk game coming out that is like more. It looks gorgeous, but it's pixel. It's like kind of pixel art, which I fucking love.
Oh,
Also, I love pixel
interesting.
art. Anything like that. It's called Nivalis. Nivalis. LIS. I'll put it in the chat. But it looks promising. I don't know. I'm always scared of like, especially Cyberpunk games coming out.
Oh.
But it looks really nice, and I really like the pixelated like look it has going on. So this is a game I'm keeping an eye on, but I don't know. Once again, I'm always so skeptical with games coming out, but it looks pretty cool. And I'm always looking for more Cyberpunk games. So that's a game that I saw recently, and I was like, please be good, please. I can't handle another Cyberpunk game failing. So,
Interesting
I
that
don't
it's
know.
like a life sim.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like,
Yeah,
huh.
You run a noodle stand.
I kind of like it because that gives less options, I feel like, to fuck up the game.
Oh,
But at the same time, that also could be a very boring game if they don't do it right.
yeah. I was gonna say like this screenshot here. I was like, I love that environment that they already kind of built with that.
Right, like that's what's drawn me in the most is like the look of
It's
it
pretty lighting.
looks really nice.
Yeah.
But visuals are very misleading, and so I'm skeptical, but I'm keeping an eye on it because it looks like it could be very promising. And let's
I
hope
like
it is.
how I like how we see like the cyberpunk like apartment style like crowded alleyways. Like it's very Japanese and it's very like you know, grungy, and we're all like, wow, this is so cool. And then like if you had to live in that in real life, you'd just be fucking so depressed all the time.
Yeah, because that was a thing in China, I think. There was a district that was like it had like 33,000 people living in a district that was
Oh my
like
god.
tiny. And not safe living conditions at all. Apparently the people who live there have very like fond memories of like living there because it probably held a bit of a dear place to them, but that got torn down a little while ago. But that's like kind of the aesthetic that they always go for, and I love it, but I probably would not live there. No, I couldn't.
I feel like living in that kind of thing, you would have probably a stronger bond with all your neighbors.
Yeah, because you're like your sense of community is literally like forced upon you. You are like next door to your neighbor.
You could not be an
Yeah.
introvert living in a cyberpunk city. It could not work.
Yeah, because you're gonna need to talk to someone eventually.
Well, that
I
and
don't
the
know.
person, you know, your neighbor's already halfway in your home as they sit in their
I was
living
gonna
room.
say they're
So
just like peeking in the window, climbing in your window from like upstairs. Hey neighbor.
they gotta climb down through your apartment just to leave.
Yeah. So I don't think I could, but I love the look of it. It's very like visually pleasing, despite being like very grungy and gross looking. I like it. But living, different story. I don't know if I could do that. I'm a poser. Oh, I'm a cyberpunk poser.
Oh my god,
Oh,
bro. What the hell?
oh man, I'm not dystopian core.
Oh no.
Shit. What will I do now?
Online, I am cybercore. Offline, I am cottagecore.
I'm cottagecore and coquette.
Yeah.
Cyber in the streets, cottage in the sheets.
Yeah.
That's a tongue
Please.
twister. Holy shit. That took so much focus.
That's my new VTuber lore. That's what I'm going with. If anyone asks me what my lore is, that I'm cyberpunk in the streets, cottagecore in the streets.
I'm gonna be upset if that's
Wow.
not somebody's Discord status in the next week.
Oh, actually, maybe I said that. I'll set that now.
I'm
Hold on, you're gonna hear me typing it probably too. Cyberpunk in the sheets.
just gonna make a tweet that says that in no context.
Cottagecore. In the oh wait, I did it wrong. I'm dyslexic. I wrote it the wrong way. Streets and then sheets. There we go. No one's gonna get what that means, but that's okay. It adds to the cyberpunk aesthetic that I'm trying to put on of being grungy and
Yeah.
no one knows who I am.
Exactly.
All right.
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna do this coin flip. Who wants tails? Who wants heads?
I'll take
I got-
tails.
Yeah, I had tails last time. I'll do heads this time.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, it was tails.
Woo!
Fuck! I was trying to rig it to get Farrah to win.
Oh
so
no,
she had to do work.
I don't have to do any work for next week. I'm so sad.
I didn't
Yep.
bribe the coin enough.
Huh. I just had a
I
very
didn't give the coin
dangerous
enough coins.
idea.
Uh-huh. Oh,
No, you can't make me do work. That's you're not allowed. I will not do it. I
Oh.
won't do my homework.
Okay. That's fine.
homework. Oh.
Don't worry.
Now I'm gonna worry.
Well, you can't say that. Like you can't. Like the way you said "don't worry" makes me worry, bro.
Oh god. And the giggle. Oh. The maniacal laugh.
I don't want to be here anymore. I quit, bro.
I have no,
No.
it's fine. I have an idea. Do you know what that means?
Nothing good.
Oh.
Well, that's rude. How dare.
When it pertains to me, it's never.
That's not very cyberpunk in the streets of you.
Shut the hell up, bro.
Well, you know, I just tweeted that out with zero context.
Good. That's like the new thing. We got to make this like trend.
I'm gonna retweet it.
Just you gotta start picking random quotes and tweeting them out on recording days.
Honestly, I think that's a smart idea because who knows? Maybe one of them will just pop off one day. Twitter likes some interesting things.
Yeah, and then you put in the replies to like check out your content, and it
Yeah,
gets like
always.
4 likes instead
Whoa.
of like the 4,000 that your
Yeah,
original
no one looks
post
at
had.
it. Whoa,
Nobody
this
cares.
post really did numbers. If you feel like it, come checking out my socials.
Yeah, literally that. Yeah.
No
Be
one
like,
looks at
hey,
it.
this is from this one, and no one looks. It's like, well, you know, it's fine.
At least there's gonna be one person that looks. Shout out to that one person that looks.
I am actually that one person that looks when something really pops off, and then their next tweet is just like, hey, here's my socials. I'll just pop in real quick because, like, you know what? I'm curious.
I never look. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always check. I'm like, how does this like pertain to your normal content? And usually it doesn't at all.
Yeah, no. Like, very, very rarely. There was, like, maybe 2 times I popped in there, and it was like, I enjoy this humor. Follow.
Yeah.
Other times, it's like, this is just a random one-off, and you haven't done anything since. So, I'm gonna just, you know, hide away.
Yeah. Good luck with whatever you got to do, but I won't be there. Well, thanks for hanging out and talking. This was like the once again not the most like intense subject, but I was hungover yesterday, so I had to come up with something today that wasn't too strenuous.
Oh, you mean last week? You were
Oh
Yeah,
right. I
last week.
mean, my hangover last week was very bad. See, it was so bad. It's still affecting me to this day. I'm cloudy in the head.
Yeah.
I like how you said it wasn't the most intense. We had a very intense conversation for like an hour about indie games.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like anything like game showy, but it's always good to have like a good conversation. I just love talking about video games. No shit, I'm in the fucking market for being a content creator of video games. Shocker, but
Ew,
I
you're
really
a
like
content
talking about
creator?
them. I know it's gross, isn't it? I'm a gross pig. I get it. But I'll probably have a lot more topics about video games in the future, just because I enjoy talking about them, and we all play them, so it's a really good topic because we
Not
can
me.
all chime
I'm a
in.
woman. I
Oh
don't even know what
my.
a video game is.
Right. No, it's okay. That's also why they scammed you out of your Persona shit. Because you're a
Yeah,
woman.
not fucking suing Sega for discrimination.
Being
bro.
sexist.
Yeah.
The S in Sega stands for sexist.
Don't look it up. Just trust.
Look it up. Just take her word for it. Yeah. With that end note, thanks for watching this week's episode. If you want to find us on any platforms,
No. You're breaking the
Whoa.
mold. Excuse
What
me.
did I
You have
forget?
to ask. You have to ask Wesky for his victory speech.
Oh, right. Oh, my
Loser
bad.
You're not allowed to
Sorry.
break the mold.
Whoa. Why are we trying to? Oh, shit. You're right. It's
That
my
was
bad. I stepped
very
on the line.
cottage core of you.
No, but that was more cyberpunk of me. Shit.
Yeah, that was.
I mixed up my roles. Winner's speech from Westy. Ignore the fact that I almost walked over all of that.
Play more indie games. Support small companies. Stop buying Call of fucking Duty. It's the same shit again and again. No one cares anymore. Go play Inscription. Go play Stray. Go play Cult of the Lamb. Go support those devs who are actually making new like content for video games. Go play Tunic, definitely. Melt your brain. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, just support the local devs. If you see something new and unique, like play it, support it, share it, get others to like play it. Otherwise, we're all going to be
You have more power than you think.
Really do. Like otherwise we're all going to be stuck in the same regurgitated fucking Call of Duty, Bethesda, triple A trash grinder that we've been stuck in for decades.
Yeah, I agree. If you like a game and it's indie, literally just talking about it helps. Literally just saying, hey, I like this game. It's called this. You should check it out.
For real, if you see a post that's
You
like
never
list your
know.
5 favorite games, throw indie games on there. Let other people know.
Yeah. Yeah. Farah, loser
If
speech.
you play, actually, if you buy the newest NHL game every year, I want you to know that I hate you.
You're a sheep and we all hate you. Yeah, no, true.
This goes out to my brothers who buy the
Oh,
NHL
God,
game
no.
every year.
That's what my dad used to do every year, and I'm like, what's changed?
Guys,
Oh,
it's the
a few
same
things.
game.
The
Girl,
roster.
Come
That's
on.
it.
Yeah, right. Like, why? This is insane.
You can update that shit yourself for free.
Same with the fucking FIFA and the MLB and all of every sports video game, every AAA EA game, sports video game.
The only sports game I will support is Blood Bowl because I like my fantasy football being literal and watching orcs just kind of eat goblins as they're playing.
I like mini golf.
Fair.
Valid. I did play a lot of Rocket League, but I don't like it.
I
But at least it was
don't
more
like
exciting.
it.
It was cars flying around with balls. That's fun.
You know what? I'll give you that. Yeah. That's an attention
But-
getter.
That game is it's a whole other story. I agree. Fuck anyone who buy. That's so. I didn't even talk about that. That's a whole other subject. Maybe we'll bring that up as another podcast episode to talk about how fucking stupid sports games are. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, with that, very too valid. Actually, those are like the best winner and loser speeches. Those are so good.
Thank you.
Please check us out on our platforms. Support us because we are indies too. Whoa. We're
Oh, we
also
are.
indies. We're indie VTubers. So support us also.
Don't support Arva. He's a stinky Twitch partner, so that means he's too
He
popular.
went- He went corporate.
Whoa.
He's corpo.
I'm
Yeah.
corporate for Twitch. Sad. I sold my soul for the purple checkmark.
I
I'm
would do
never
the same.
happy
It's
anymore.
okay.
It's worth it for the emotes, but that's about it. Ugh. But speaking of that, I'm Arva on Twitch because I am partnered, so I got the fancy 4-letter name. But that's the only platform I have Arva. Woo! So I'm Arva_69 literally everywhere else. Westy is Westy HCC on every platform because he got his head in the game and I haven't yet. Same with Farah. Farah is Farah the Bat on every platform. So they made it very easy. I'm sorry. I'm going to make you work for it. Thank you so much for coming out to another episode and listening or watching, depending on the platform you're listening on. We appreciate it a lot. We'll see you in the next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.